Life is more than what we can see. I know, maybe you have felt it too. That vague sense that behind all the habits, the work, the daily responsibilities, there is something deeper, quieter, waiting to be awakened. And perhaps you have already experienced the first awakening. That moment when you realized you are not only this body, not only a name on paper, but a soul, learning to live consciously in a chaotic world. But then, something begins to move again, gently, like a breath, but enough for you to sense you are going deeper. I call it the second awakening. It does not come with thunder or lightning. It seeps into every small moment, every heartbeat, every cup of coffee you make in the morning. One day, you suddenly pause, watch the steam rising from your cup, and feel a thin stream of light spreading across your chest. Nothing special happens, yet you know everything has changed. As Psalm 36:9 once said, "In your light, we see light." That verse echoes somewhere in your heart, not as scripture, but as a whisper you once heard from a very distant place, long ago. The second awakening is not new knowledge. It is a return. You start to look at every familiar action, brushing your teeth, washing your face, driving, sending an email, and you sense a subtle current of energy beneath it all. Before, you did things out of duty, necessity, or habit. Now, you do them as an offering. Every small action becomes a silent prayer. You begin to realize that everything you touch has its own frequency. Every thought you create, every emotion you nurture, sends out a signal into space. And somehow, the world responds at the same frequency. In the morning, when you make coffee, you no longer do it just to do it. You feel each movement of your hand, hear the boiling water sing, smell the rich aroma, and sense in it the breath of God. You stir slowly and smile softly. You realize you are no longer living on autopilot. Everything becomes conscious. And strangely, the smallest things now make your heart tremble, as if you have found a lost piece of your soul. That is the first moment of transformation, when intention begins to merge with action. The world has not changed, but the way you see it has. The old you, the one who rushed, who feared mistakes, who chased after everything, begins to fade, allowing a deeper, calmer part to emerge. At noon, you walk through the streets. Everything looks the same, the traffic, the noise, the nameless faces. But inside you there is a silence that cannot be named. You hear things you never noticed before. The wind rustling through the trees, footsteps tapping on the sidewalk, the sound of your own breathing. A quiet awareness spreads within you, making the world seem bathed in a new light. You do not know what to call it, but you can feel it clearly. Everything is alive, and you are part of it. Strangely, you start to understand even the moments that once felt meaningless. When someone smiles at you on the street, you no longer see it as politeness, but as an exchange of energy. When someone loses their temper, you no longer react, but sense the pain of a soul in struggle. You begin to see yourself as both the observer and the creator of your own reality. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and instead whisper, "What is it teaching me?" Transformation begins from within. The more aware you become of your own frequency, the more gently the world responds. Strangers grow kinder, opportunities appear naturally, and the flow of life seems to move with ease. Some mornings you open your eyes, no longer heavy with dread for the new day, but filled with gratitude just to be alive. It feels as if an invisible hand is arranging everything: the right moment, the right place, the right people. Psalm 19:1 once said, "The heavens declare the glory of God." And now you see those heavens are not only above, but all around you. In the eyes of the person before you, in the wildflower by the roadside, in the soft music drifting from a small cafe. The universe no longer feels distant, but like it is whispering something meant only for you. In the days that follow, that awareness grows clearer. You begin to live slower, but deeper. Everything you do has a reason, not because you should, but because you choose to. When someone asks, "What do you do?" you no longer answer with a title or a job, but smile, "I am learning to be present." In the fading light of afternoon, you sit by the window, sunlight brushing your hand, and your heart warms. There is something sacred in that moment, a feeling of home, of origin, of the first light you once forgot. Perhaps that is what your soul has been searching for all along. Not knowledge, not power, but simply a return to this breath. You wonder, Is this the beginning of a new journey? A part of you gently answers, no, this is not the beginning. It is remembering. Because the truth is, you have never left that light. You only forgot it was always here. When night falls, you turn off the light and sit in stillness. The mind wants to speak, but the heart only smiles. You know you have touched something beyond words. A flow that is both powerful and tender, both real and subtle. And in that moment, you hear a whisper from deep within your soul. The second awakening is not about becoming someone else, but returning to who you truly are. You take a deep breath. Outside, the wind gently moves the window frame. A new chapter has begun, quiet and soft, like the first light of dawn after a long night. Gentle, steady, unstoppable. And you know, this journey has just begun. Something beautiful begins to happen when you start living with greater awareness. The world seems to respond to you in a new language, not with words, but with subtle signs. A glance someone gives you, a small coincidence between random events, or simply the way the sky glows with a color you have never seen before. You begin to realize that everything around you is moving to the rhythm of your own frequency. And deep within, you understand that every thought, emotion, and action is a vibration, and the world simply reflects the frequency you are sending out. In the morning, you no longer start your day with a list of tasks, but with presence. When the first light slips through the window, you gently touch your cup of water and feel warmth spreading through your fingertips. Nothing special happens, yet your heart fills with peace. Every action suddenly carries sacred meaning, as if the whole universe is listening to your smallest movements. When you release your mind from the spiral of must-do, you realize you do not need to control life. You only need to resonate with it. Perhaps this is what Psalm 19:1 means. The heavens declare the glory of God. Because now you understand that the heavens are not just the sky above, but the vibration you are living in. When your mind becomes still, you can hear the harmony hidden in everything. The bird song is no longer just sound, but a morning greeting from the universe. Each breath becomes part of that melody. And when you slow down, the miracle begins. The world changes the way it sees you. New people appear. A coworker suddenly grows friendlier. An old friend messages you out of nowhere. An opportunity you never planned arrives right on time. You do not need to chase or force anything. Everything seems arranged so delicately to meet you at your frequency. Abundance does not come from pursuit, but from inner alignment. Psalm 37:4 promises, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." And you realize joy is no longer the final reward, but the key that opens the door to blessing. In that state, everything you touch becomes a ritual. When you cook, you are not just making food, you are infusing it with love. When you water the plants, you are nourishing yourself. When you say thank you, it is no longer politeness, but the highest vibration of the soul. Every word you speak carries energy, and you begin to see how it shapes the world. A kind word can change someone's entire day. A careless one can close a heart. You begin to choose your words, not out of fear of being wrong, but from the awareness of frequency's power. You look back at the past and understand why there were times you felt stuck, tired, or unhappy. It was not that life was against you, but that you were radiating frequencies of fear and lack. You prayed, but doubted inside. You dreamed, but feared losing. The universe only reflected what you were sending. Now it is different. Now you choose the vibration of faith. You stop asking what is coming, and instead focus on the energy you are giving out. One afternoon, you sit by the window, watching the rain, and you realize something beautifully simple. You are living in the frequency you create. You no longer feel like a victim of circumstances. You are a creator. Every emotion is a brushstroke painting the world around you. And that painting, whether bright or dark, is perfectly honest. This awareness makes you both humble and strong. You understand that your greatest responsibility is not to change the world, but to care for your own energy. Psalm 25:9 whispers, "He guides the humble in what is right and teaches them His way." When you live from the energy of love and humility, you realize there is no more struggle. Everything opens naturally. You walk lightly but firmly. Every small action carries sacredness. You no longer work. You embody the work itself. You no longer speak. You radiate the energy of your words. The world begins to find its rhythm. And you, instead of trying to control it, start to flow with the music. Every coincidence becomes a message. A friend mentions exactly what you were thinking. A song plays with the answer you were seeking. It is no longer random. It is synchronicity, the subtle conversation between your soul and the universe. And in that moment, you touch a new level of awareness. You understand that you are no longer the controller of life, but a co-creator with a creator. You are no longer swept away by chaos, but become the calm center within every motion. Each moment lived in awareness becomes a higher note in the great symphony you belong to. Sometimes you still forget, still fall into worry or doubt, but even then, you know what frequency you are vibrating at, and by shifting your inner energy, the world changes again. That is the power of the second awakening. No longer seeking outside, but tuning within. No longer asking for the light, because you now know the light is within you. When night comes, you sit still, close your eyes, and listen to your breath. You no longer pray with words. You let your heart breathe with the rhythm of the universe. A warmth rises, as if embraced by something unseen. You suddenly understand. This is what you have been searching for all along. Not power, not miracles, but the union of human and soul, of you and the light from which you came. And in that quiet moment, a gentle thought passes through. Perhaps this is how the world truly works, not by logic, but by heartbeat. You smile. Tomorrow, when the sun rises again, you know that if you live by that frequency, the frequency of love, gratitude, and light, everything else will fall into place. And your journey, no matter how far it goes, is simply another way of returning to where it all began, where everything started with a single vibration. One morning, you wake up without rushing. No need to check your phone. No need to make a to-do list. Only your breath and the slow beating of your heart. You sit quietly, watching the light slip through the curtains, and suddenly realize, for most of your life, you have lived in noise. The noise of thoughts, of worries, of endless overlapping plans. You once believed that thinking more, doing more, would help you control life. But now, a small voice inside whispers, what you need is not more thoughts, but less. You remember the verse from Scripture, "Be still and know that I am God," Psalm 46:10. It has never felt so true. You realize that God is not in the noise of calculations, but in the stillness between two breaths. There, you do not need to prove or understand. You only need to be. When the mind stops trying to explain, a vast space opens, and within it, you begin to hear the voice of your soul. You feel yourself living lighter. Every conversation becomes natural, without preparation. You stop scripting every situation because you see that truth always knows how to speak at the right time. In meetings, you no longer try to persuade others. You simply speak from the calm center within. And strangely, it is that calm that makes people listen. You no longer seek to be seen because you already see yourself. This is when intuition begins to guide you. Your thoughts no longer come from fear or the need to control, but from pure feeling. Sometimes you do not know why you choose a certain path, yet somehow everything aligns perfectly. A random meeting opens a big opportunity. A spontaneous decision brings unexpected peace. You realize that when you are silent long enough, life begins to speak to you in the language of the soul. Then one afternoon, as sunlight crosses your window, you notice the clock showing 1:11. Not the first time, but this time your heart stirs. It feels like a message. You recall someone once said, 111 is the number of new beginnings, when the soul and the universe step into the same rhythm. You do not know why, but the feeling is real, as if the universe is saying, I see you. Your journey is beginning again. You smile. Nothing is random. Each time that number appears, on a receipt, a license plate, or simply on the clock, you feel a gentle touch from beyond the veil, a quiet confirmation that you are on the right path. And if you have seen that number too, listen. Perhaps it is not coincidence, but a sacred seal of the new chapter unfolding within you. When you learn to trust the silence, everything begins to rearrange itself. You no longer need to control the outcome because you feel guided. You act not out of fear of missing out, but from a sense of what is right. And slowly, you discover that peace does not come from everything going well, but from knowing that no matter what happens, you are protected. There are still days you stumble, forget, and lose your way in the waves of life. But instead of blaming yourself, you smile at your confusion. Because now you understand. Awakening does not mean perfection. It means noticing when you drift away and returning. Each moment of awareness brings you closer to your center. One evening, you sit alone in a dark room, a small candle flickering. You whisper a thank you, not for something grand, but for having learned to pause. In a world full of noise, knowing how to be silent is a miracle. You know there are others on this journey too, souls learning to live by feeling instead of fear. And if you are hearing this, perhaps you are one of them. If this message resonates with you, share it. Leave a note, a sign, a number that is echoing in your heart. Maybe the words you write will become light for another soul lost in the dark. Because on the path of awakening, no one walks alone. Every open heart is a doorway opened for the world. That night, you look up at the sky. The stars are still there, as they have always been. You realize that the light never disappears. It is only hidden by clouds of thought. And when your mind grows still, the sky clears again. You hear the gentle voice within, soft, clear, and sure. You do not need to do more. You only need to be. You nod quietly. The second awakening does not come with noise or miracles. It arrives in the simple moment when you learn to listen to yourself. And then you understand. This journey is not about going anywhere. It is about returning to the deepest place within your heart, where silence is no longer empty, but the voice of heaven whispering through you. One afternoon, as the last light of the day falls softly on the ground, you realize you are seeing the world differently. Not with your usual eyes, but with a gaze that is clear, deep, and calm. Everything becomes so beautiful that it leaves you still. The color of the sky is no longer just blue. It becomes a gentle melody. The light streaming through the leaves turns into thousands of golden threads, woven into a net of radiance. Every breeze, every breath feels alive. You are no longer just seeing, you are feeling. And in that moment, you know you have stepped into another level of awareness. Everything around you seems to come alive. Things that once felt ordinary now carry a quiet mystery within them. A single falling leaf is enough to make you pause, watching it spin through the air like a small message from heaven. Every sound, a child's laughter, a bird's song, the soft touch of the wind against the window, carries its own rhythm. Like notes in the grand symphony of the universe that you are just beginning to hear. You no longer see the world as separate. You and everything around you are breathing in the same rhythm. In that moment, you understand that miracles are not about seeing the extraordinary, but about seeing the ordinary with new eyes. Psalm 104:24 says, "How many are your works, Lord? In wisdom, you made them all." Now you truly understand that verse. That wisdom is not only in great things, the mountains, the seas, the stars, but also in the smallest dust particle. The way light pauses on a drop of water, or the way someone's eyes shimmer in silence, holds within it an eternal secret. Another morning, as you walk through the park, the dew still glistens on the grass. You stop, gazing at a single leaf. In its fine veins, you see a perfect design, like the blueprint of the universe contained within it. You suddenly remember the ancient story from the Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna was granted divine sight by Krishna to behold the infinite form of God, where all beings, all stars, and every moment existed together in his light. You once thought that story was a myth. Now you understand. It was the experience of a soul whose eyes had truly opened. And in your own way, you too are beginning to see a glimpse of that vision. The world has not changed. Only you have. What was once familiar becomes new. What was once ordinary becomes sacred. You feel as if you have stepped into another dimension. Still the same place, the same street, but under a different light, where everything is wrapped in gratitude. You begin to understand that awareness itself is the gateway to heaven. Not a distant place, but a vibration you can touch whenever your heart opens. Sometimes you sit silently, watching the sunset, and tears fall without knowing why. Not from sadness, but from beauty. Because you know that within that fading light lies the endless cycle of life, of death and rebirth, of endings and beginnings. Everything breathes within the same rhythm of the Creator. Psalm 8:3 says, "When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars you have set in place, I am in awe. And so are you, in awe, not with fear, but with reverence before the perfection of what is. From that moment on, your actions grow slower, gentler. You begin to speak less and listen more, because you realize that sometimes simply listening deeply is enough to understand an entire soul. When you look at someone, you no longer see just a body, but a small universe, carrying the same light you saw that afternoon. You understand that every soul is a reflection of the same source of light, and so you no longer wish to judge. You also begin to realize that in those moments, the world is no longer outside or inside. When you are still, the wind is still. When you smile, the light feels warmer. When you are angry, the sky grows heavy. Everything moves together. For you and the world are two breaths of the same living being. At times, in that stillness, you feel a fine stream of light passing through. You cannot see it with your eyes, but your whole body senses it. A gentle current runs through you, not painful, only warm, as if something pure is touching you. You are not afraid, because you know it is a sign of expansion. The second awakening does not just open the mind, it opens the eyes of the soul. That night, you return home and turn off all the lights. You let the moonlight pour through the window, laying a silver glow upon the wall. In that light, you feel wrapped in a peace beyond words. You no longer need to pray, because you know every breath is already a prayer. You no longer ask where God is, because He is in everything, in the moonlight, in the breeze, and within you. When you close your eyes, you see a faint glow inside your mind. It has no clear shape, but you feel its pulse beating in rhythm with your heart. And you know that light is you, and only now are you willing to see it. The second awakening does not bring new knowledge. It simply removes the veil between you and truth. And when that veil falls, the world shines. The deeper you walk into the light, the clearer you see the darkness. It is not something to fear, it is a natural part of the journey. Because light does not only reveal the beauty of the soul, it also exposes the corners that once slept quietly. One day, you notice yourself feeling proud for having awakened, for seeing what others do not yet see. A faint feeling, small, but enough to steal the peace from your heart. You begin to wonder, have I truly awakened? Or am I just wearing a newer mask of the same old ego? The ego has many forms, and the most subtle of all is the spiritual ego. It no longer seeks superiority through wealth or fame, but through awakening. It whispers, I am deeper than them. I understand more. I am ahead. And you begin to compare in silence. When someone complains, you think, they are still trapped in ignorance. When someone disagrees, you feel they are not yet open. Each thought is soft, almost invisible, but from that very place, your inner light begins to fade. Psalm 25:9 says, He guides the humble in what is right and teaches them His way. That verse comes to you like a cool breeze across your forehead. You realize that God does not seek the most enlightened souls, but the most humble ones. True wisdom does not make you feel higher, it makes you bow lower, so you can touch the hearts that are hurting. When real light lives within you, you never have to declare it. Others will feel it. One afternoon, while sitting in meditation, you suddenly remember a moment when you silently judged someone, thinking they did not understand energy, or that they were still ruled by ego. In that instant, a voice within whispers, so are you, only on another level. And you cry, not from shame, but from the realization that you are still being taught, still a student in the classroom of the soul. You begin to see that true love does not separate people by spiritual depth. Someone who has never meditated can still have a heart that shines brighter than the one who has read hundreds of sacred texts. Someone who has never heard of vibration can still live in the highest one, the vibration of love. You understand that awakening is not about rising higher, but dissolving deeper, deeper into humility, deeper into gratitude, deeper into the nameless light. From then on, you change the way you see others. When you meet someone angry, you no longer think they cannot manage their energy. You simply see a soul in pain. When you hear someone complain, you do not try to fix their vibration. You just listen. You stop trying to be right, because now you only want to understand. One afternoon, you sit in a small cafe. You notice strangers around you, the tired waiter forcing a smile, a young couple arguing softly, an old man sitting quietly with a worn newspaper. Before, you might have looked away and reached for your phone, but today, something feels different. You truly see them, not with your eyes, but with your heart. Each person carries a story, a journey, a private ache, and all of them are walking beside you, fellow travelers on a silent pilgrimage toward the light. That is when you understand. Awakening is not about separating yourself from the world, but merging with it through a larger heart. When the light in you becomes steady, you no longer fear the dark. You walk into it carrying a small flame. No need to teach anyone, no need to prove anything. Just be present. Psalm 37:11 says, "But the meek shall inherit the earth, and delight themselves in abundant peace." The word meek here does not mean weak, but one who knows the true strength of kindness. The gentle do not argue about the light, they become it. They do not declare that they have awakened, they simply live in love, and that radiates louder than any sermon. The more you let go of the need to be right, the lighter you feel. The spiritual ego no longer needs recognition. You stop trying to be good or to live correctly, because you know your essence has always been good and right. You simply return to that truth. When you no longer need to prove anything, you are free. When you no longer need others to see your light, you become the light itself. One night, you sit in meditation in the dark. No music, no incense, only your breath and your heartbeat. Suddenly, an image of yourself appears, not radiant or shining, just you, simple and calm. And you hear a voice echo from afar. Light never calls itself light, it only shines. You smile through your tears. That is the moment you realize you have crossed a new doorway, the doorway of simple truth. No need to be higher than anyone, no need to be special, only love. And let that love do its work. And in that silence, a warm wave spreads through your body, not of pride, but of gratitude. Grateful that even in moments of arrogance, the light never left you. It waited, patient and kind, to guide you home again. Because awakening is not a climb upward, but a return inward, back to humility, where every soul stands equal in the light of the Creator. There are days when life feels like a wheel that never stops turning. You work, strive, accomplish, then continue again. Everything seems to demand that you move faster, do better, achieve more, as if your worth depends on what you can produce. But at some moment, without knowing when it began, you start to feel tired. Not the kind of tiredness that lives in the body, but a deep fatigue within the soul, a quiet voice whispering, "What if you stopped? What if you simply were?" You try to pause. For the first time in years, you do nothing. No checking work, no scrolling online, no finding something to stay busy. You just sit in silence, listening to the wind outside the window and the beating of your own heart. Strangely, in that stillness, a wave of peace rises within you. It feels as if you have stepped out of a long dream, one where doing had replaced being. And you realize, living is not about running, it is about breathing. I remember the words from Psalm 37:4. "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." When you read this, you suddenly understand. Joy is not found in what you achieve, but in being fully present with what already is. Everything you have ever chased, success, recognition, happiness, was only a reflection of that feeling, the feeling of being connected to the source of life. You begin to observe your own patterns, the ways your mind keeps itself constantly spinning. How many times have you worked not out of love, but out of fear of being left behind? How many times have you said yes when your heart wanted to say no? How many times have you tried to be worthy of what you already are? All of it now becomes clear, like morning mist dissolving in sunlight. One morning, you make your coffee more slowly than usual. No headphones, no thoughts about the day ahead. You simply watch the hot water swirl, hear the gentle sound of stirring, and feel the aroma spreading through the kitchen. In that moment, you are no longer making coffee. You are the coffee, the warmth, the fragrance, the breath of life itself. A small moment, yet your soul opens wide. And then something beautiful begins to happen. When you stop forcing life, everything starts to flow more naturally. Work becomes easier, relationships soften, even your body feels lighter. You no longer try to do well, because every action now comes from presence, not from fear or need. The more you release, the more the current carries you exactly where you need to go. This is the energy of 222, the sacred number of balance and harmony, a reminder that you are not alone, that the universe is moving with you. When you stop resisting, everything finds its rightful place. You no longer have to push or pull. You only need to trust. 222 is the mark of presence, where the human, the soul, and the universe walk in the same rhythm. If this number has ever appeared to you, it is not coincidence. It is a whisper saying, "Be at peace, you are being guided." The outer world is still loud and fast, but you are no longer swept away. When someone asks, "What are you doing?" you smile gently and say, "I am living," not as a philosophy, but as simple truth. Living, not in worry or regret, but in the fullness of this moment. You begin to see that doing is the language of the ego, while being is the language of the soul. When you do, you chase outcomes. When you are, you become the flow of those outcomes. Like the river that does not try to flow, it simply is water, and its being is what makes it move. The same is true for you. When you stop, you do not stop living. You become life itself. Psalm 23:2 whispers, "He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters." You feel that image more vividly than ever. The green pastures are not a physical place, but an inner state where you rest amidst the movement of life. The still waters are your breath, always flowing within you, no matter how busy the world becomes. At night, you turn off all the lights and leave a single candle burning on the table. You no longer pray with words. You simply close your eyes, breathe deeply, and feel life moving through you. You no longer need to search for God. You realize He is already here, in your breath, in the silence, in every heartbeat. And then you see clearly, every moment lived in presence is a sacred act. You no longer fear missing out, because you understand that nothing is ever truly lost, only not yet ready to be seen. You no longer chase achievements, because real joy lives in each step, each sip of water, each smile. And you begin to trust that life does not need to be controlled, only participated in with an open heart. In the quiet, you hear a whisper from deep within, not a voice, but a clear knowing. You do not need to be special. You only need to be true. You open your eyes, watching the candlelight flicker across the table, and realize that within this simplicity lies a light more beautiful than anything else. And you know that from this moment on, you no longer want to run. Because in the end, what your soul has always been searching for is not success or control, but rest in the pure presence of being. One afternoon, while you are working as usual, an old song begins to play. Just a few notes, but something inside you is touched. Your throat tightens, your eyes sting, your heart trembles without knowing why. Then the tears come, needing no reason, no comfort. You do not try to hold them back. You let everything flow, quietly, softly, like a summer rain. And you realize, this is not weakness. This is the soul being cleansed. In the journey of the second awakening, light does not always arrive in brilliance. Sometimes it comes like rain, soothing and washing away the old fragments of memory. For years, you have carried so much within you: fear, pain, words left unsaid, tears never shed. All of it has been waiting, silent inside your body for a moment safe enough to rise. And now that you are awake enough, the light within begins to shine into those dark corners, not to judge, but to heal. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." That verse feels like a hand resting gently on your shoulder, tender and warm. You understand that, even in tears, you are not alone. When you allow yourself to feel pain, you also allow God to enter that place, because only through honesty does healing begin. In the days that follow, emotions come like waves. Sometimes you laugh over a small memory. Sometimes you cry uncontrollably in the night. But this time, you do not fight them. You let everything be as it is. The anger, the sorrow, the regret, each has its own space. And something miraculous happens. When you stop fearing your emotions, they lose their power over you. They pass through, like rain through dry soil, leaving freshness and life behind. One night, you sit alone, listening to the rain tapping softly on the roof. The sound of the rain blends with your heartbeat, drop by drop. You think of those who have left, the things that are gone, the dreams unfinished. But instead of pain, your heart feels warm. You no longer want to erase the past. You want to hold it close, because now you understand. Everything that once hurt you is the very ground where light is growing. Psalm 30:5 says, "Weeping may stay for the night, but joy comes in the morning." the verse rings inside you like a distant bell. Yes, tears are the night, and joy is the dawn. And dawn cannot come without night, so you no longer fear the dark. You simply whisper, "Thank you. Thank you for letting me cry, for letting me live honestly enough to feel my heart still beating." Another morning, you look into the mirror. Your eyes are swollen, but your gaze has changed. Deeper, softer, lighter. You no longer feel the need to be strong, because you know real strength is not in holding back tears, but in facing them. And deep inside, you know you have let go of something heavy, not through reason, but through feeling fully. Sometimes, while washing dishes or walking down the street, emotion rises again. A small memory, a scent, a forgotten word, and the tears return. But now you are not ashamed. You know it is only the soul breathing. Each time it happens, your body feels lighter, your mind clearer. You begin to understand that healing is not forgetting, but accepting, letting the past rest in love. The Bible says in Matthew 5-4, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." Now you understand what that blessing means. When you cry in awareness, your tears are not a sign of weakness, but a sacred cleansing of the soul. Each tear that falls breaks another chain. Each trembling breath opens another door for love to enter. You no longer fear pain, because you know wounds are where the light comes through. In the silence after the tears, something beautiful appears, a deep peace within. Not because all your problems have disappeared, but because you are no longer resisting. You look at yourself and realize you are no longer the person who once ran from emotion, but the one who allows it to live. And somewhere inside, you hear a sigh from your soul, not of exhaustion, but of release. You close your eyes, feeling warmth spread through your chest. A thought drifts in, soft as the wind. Healing is not about becoming whole. It is remembering you were never truly broken. Outside, the rain has stopped. The air is fresh and smells of new earth. You open the door and step outside, letting the last drop fall onto your hand. The morning light reflects in your eyes, shining gently. You understand that after every cry comes a rebirth, and this time, you are not just living, you are free. There are days when you wake up and no longer recognize yourself, not because you have changed too quickly, but because the layers around your soul are slowly falling away. The roles that once made you feel safe, your work, your title, your image, suddenly feel loose, no longer fitting. You stand before the mirror and ask, if I let go of all of this, who am I? A simple question, yet it opens up an entire sky of stillness. Because when there is nothing left to cling to, you begin to touch the deepest part of who you are. All your life, you were taught to become someone, a good person, a capable one, a successful one. But in the journey of the second awakening, you begin to see that every role is only temporary. You are not your job title, nor the expectations of others. You are the observer standing behind it all, silent, vast, and beyond definition. The first feeling that comes with this realization is not freedom, but confusion. Because when all labels fall away, you feel exposed, standing naked in an infinite space. But then, in that nakedness, you feel lighter. Psalm 46:2 says, "We will not fear, though the earth gives way, and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea." The verse becomes a gentle reminder. Everything outside may shift, but your true essence never trembles. You realize that the things you once feared, losing, status, relationships, recognition, are nothing but smoke. You no longer need to hold them with fear, because what belongs to your soul can never leave you. One morning, as you walk through your familiar street, everything looks the same. The old cafe, the trees, the sound of traffic, yet something has changed. Not the world, but the way you are present in it. You no longer rush. You no longer need to prove or perform as the best version of yourself. You simply walk, breathe, and feel enough. In that enoughness, a new freedom arises, one that comes not from outside, but from within, where all identities dissolve into light. You remember the story of Hypatia of Alexandria, the woman who lived in an age where her wisdom was seen as dangerous. She did not choose silence for safety, but chose to live true to her essence, a seeker of truth. Hypatia did not fight the world with anger, but with the light of knowledge and courage. And though her ending was tragic, her spirit remains immortal, because truth cannot be burned. Thinking of her, You understand that living truthfully always carries the power of liberation. From that moment, you begin to release the things that once felt important. You no longer need to be loved in the way others expect. You no longer need to be seen, praised, or understood. You only need to be real, even if that realness sometimes feels lonely. But strangely, in that loneliness, you feel closer to the universe than ever before. Because when there are no more roles to play, you and life are no longer separate. One afternoon, you watch sunlight fall on your hand, your skin glowing like honey. Suddenly, you smile, not for any reason, but because you realize this simplicity is the truest thing of all. The Gospel of John 12:24 says, "Unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains only a single grain. But if it dies, it produces many seeds." The verse touches you like a wave. Yes, you are in the process of dying, not a physical death, but the death of the ego, the death of old definitions. And only by daring to dissolve can you begin to bloom. That evening, you look back at your journey, all the times you tried to become someone, to be loved, to be understood. Now, you no longer need any of that. You only wish to return to the natural state where you do not have to act, hide, or be perfect. In that state, you feel yourself like water, soft, fluid, without shape, yet able to flow beyond every boundary. You understand that your soul is not fixed. Each day, you are a new version of yourself, not better, not worse, simply true to this moment. And that is the greatest freedom a human can taste. To change without fear of losing who you are. In the stillness of the night, you take a deep breath, feeling the air fill your chest, then gently exhale. The sensation is light as wind, yet deep as the ocean. You know you have just shed another layer. No noise, no ceremony, no witnesses, only you and life embracing each other in silence. Then you whisper, as if speaking to your own soul, "I have lived too long in the shapes of others. Now, I just want to be me." Outside, the night sky shines brighter than usual. The moon casts a soft silver glow over everything, like a blessing from the universe upon the one brave enough to come home. And you understand, every time a mask falls away, the soul breathes a little deeper. There are mornings when you wake up with a strange feeling, as if something is softly calling your name. It is not loud, not clear, just a gentle pull in your chest that makes you change direction, reach out to someone, or do something your mind cannot explain. And later, you realize those random choices led you to the most important turning points in your life. You begin to understand that the soul always knows the way, long before the mind does. Once, you doubted this. You needed reasons, plans, certainty. But now, you realize that real certainty does not come from knowing everything, but from trusting what you feel within. It is like walking through fog. You cannot see the whole path, but each step is lit just enough. Psalm 119:105 says, "Your word is a lamp for my feet, a light on my path." Now you understand that lamp is not only scripture or teaching, but the quiet flame of intuition burning in your heart. One afternoon, as you are about to do something routine, a small voice inside whispers, "Stop." You listen, and just moments later, you realize that if you had not paused, you might have missed an important encounter or a meaningful sign. These moments begin to happen more often. Coincidences, perfect timings, right people at the right time, as if the universe is quietly arranging everything to align with your new frequency. You no longer need to ask for signs, because they appear everywhere. In a random song on the radio, in a stranger's passing words, in numbers that keep repeating before your eyes. One day, you see 777 on a coffee receipt. Your heart trembles, as if a message has crossed the veil. You know this is the seal of an awakening soul. The number of spiritual alignment, a reminder that you are on the right path. If you have ever seen this number too, perhaps it is the universe smiling at you, whispering, "Keep going. I am right here." You start to live differently. You no longer plan every detail. You let your intuition lead. When something makes your heart light up, you follow it. When the energy feels heavy, you know it is time to pause. You understand that intuition does not speak in logic. It speaks in feeling. It does not argue or demand. It gently invites. And if you are quiet enough, you will hear it as clearly as the voice of someone you love. One afternoon, you walk through a park. The wind is soft. Sunlight filters through the trees. You feel drawn to sit on a particular bench, though you do not know why. Moments later, a stranger sits beside you, smiling, starting a conversation. That short exchange opens something new, an opportunity, a piece of guidance, or simply a message your heart needed to hear. You cannot explain it, but you know, this is not coincidence. This is synchronicity. In Yoruba mythology, there is the story of Orunmila, the deity of wisdom and prophecy, who speaks through flashes of intuition. Orunmila does not use words, but a sudden knowing, like thunder in a clear sky. And you realize every soul carries its own Orunmila within, an inner guide that quietly shows the way. The question is, are you willing to trust that whisper? At first, you are afraid of being wrong, of imagining things. But as you keep listening, you notice that every time you follow your intuition, life flows with ease and harmony, and every time you ignore it, things feel forced and heavy. You come to see that intuition is the language of God spoken through your soul. It is never loud, because light never needs to shout to be seen. One quiet evening, you sit still and listen to your heartbeat. Everything is so calm that you can hear your blood moving, your breath rising and falling like ocean waves. In that stillness, a deep knowing arises, wordless and sure. Everything is exactly where it should be. You no longer need answers, because you feel guided in every breath. Psalm 32:8 says, "I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you." And in that moment, you understand that His eye is not somewhere far away. It is the light within you, the light that already knows each step to take. From now on, you no longer ask, "What should I do next?" Instead, you gently close your eyes, place your hand on your heart, and ask, "What makes my heart open wider?" And the answer will always come, soft as breath, clear as light. Because intuition is not a gift reserved for a few. It is the sacred instinct of every awakening soul. And when you begin to live in tune with it, the world around you begins to speak in the same language, the language of guidance, of synchronicity, of light. There is a night when you lie still in the darkness, not dreaming, not thinking, only silent. Outside, the wind moves softly through the window, so gentle you cannot tell if it is the wind or the breath of life itself. And then, within that stillness, something becomes clear. Your heart is opening, not in a romantic way, not because anyone has stirred it, but as if an old door within you creaks open after years of being locked. From that place, a warm current spreads through your body, and you realize this is no longer a journey just for you. You begin to feel connected to everything, to people, to nature, to unseen souls. When someone hurts, you feel the ache in your own chest. When someone laughs, warmth rises in your heart, as if their joy is flowing through you. This sensitivity does not make you weaker, it makes you stronger, because now you understand that love is the only sacred energy that never runs out. Psalm 145:8 says, "The Lord is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger, and rich in love." And you feel that this is no longer distant scripture, but the natural state of your soul, gentle, patient, and full of love. In that love, you begin to hear more clearly the call from within, the call of purpose. It does not come with grand words or shining light, only a whisper as soft as wind on your shoulder. It is time to share the light you carry. It might be through writing, speaking, creating, helping someone, or simply being present with honesty. You do not need to do anything great. The way you live each day with love and awareness is already the mission. You think of Rumi, the Sufi poet who turned his pain into eternal poetry. He once said, "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray." And you realize the soul's mission is not to be figured out by the mind, but felt by the heart. Every time you follow what makes your heart glow, no matter how small, you are on the right path. Every time you resist it, you move away from yourself. One morning, you open your eyes, and the world seems brighter. Nothing has changed, only the way you see it. You now look through the eyes of someone who knows that everything they do carries meaning. When you truly listen to another, you are healing them. When you forgive, you open a doorway for two souls. When you cook with gratitude, you turn food into sacred energy. Every action becomes a living prayer. There will still be challenges, fear, doubt, and moments of being lost. But now, you no longer resist them. You know that light is never gone, only hidden by clouds for a while. Each time you move through the darkness, the light within you grows stronger, clearer, and you understand this is what purpose really is. Not a perfect path, but an honest one. The Gospel of Matthew 5:14 says, "You are the light of the world." That verse no longer feels intimidating, because now you know, light is not a grand title. It is the truth of every soul. We are not born to be perfect, but to shine in our own way, through kindness, sincerity, and compassion. When you live in that energy, the universe begins to harmonize with you. People of the same vibration appear. Opportunities align. Life stops feeling random and becomes a melody where every note and every silence has its place. And you now are no longer just listening, you are playing music with the universe. One afternoon, you help a stranger pick up a fallen bag. They smile and thank you, and your eyes grow warm, not from emotion alone, but from feeling the invisible thread that connects two souls, simple, yet profound. In that moment, you understand that every act born from love is sacred. It needs no title, no recognition, only presence and compassion. Before sleep, you close your eyes and whisper, "I understand now, light. I no longer need to search for you. I only need to open my heart, and you will be there." A wave of warmth spreads through your body, as if something unseen is embracing you with pure love. You know the journey of the second awakening does not end here. It is only beginning a new chapter, the chapter of service, of love, of sharing. And if there is one final message for anyone who is listening, it is this. When you have learned to love with light, you no longer need to find the way, because love itself will lead you home. If your heart stirs as you hear these words, it means you too are being called. Your mission may not yet be clear, but let love lead the way. Because when you walk by the light of your heart, every path becomes sacred. Grateful that you chose to spend these moments in the light of this story. If it touched your soul, please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the bell so the next whisper of light may find its way back to you.